Welcome back to God's 411. My name is Jim, and this is my wife, Kim.
Hi.
We're going to answer the question, should women be pastors or i.e. teaching?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about a kind of a controversial comment that we got from one of our fans. He basically said that Kim should not be teaching on our YouTube channel.
I should be quiet.
She should be quiet. So we're going to read his comment really quick, and then we're going to take a look at this subject about women, Christian women teaching.
All right. Let's hear this nice comment.
Okay, so I'm not going to read all the comments, okay?
Yeah, not the whole thing.
It's right here in the video if you guys want to read the whole comment, but I'm going to read you the highlights. So he said, both of you will answer to this for your disobedience towards scriptures and for your trying to be politically correct according to the world.
I do want to say that we do appreciate comments even like this, because it causes us to really research and check it out and make sure that we are biblically correct.
All right, so there are two scriptures that people use on why women shouldn't be teaching or be pastors. So let's read the first verse. Why don't you read the first verse in 1 Corinthians?
1 Corinthians says, 1 Corinthians 14, 34 through 35. The women should keep silent in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak, but should be in submission, as the law also says. If there is anything they desire to learn, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is shameful for a woman to speak in church.
Wow. Okay, so we did a little research. Shameful. I know, that's a pretty powerful word. We did some research on this, and the main thrust of this message is back in the church, the women were being not respectful of their spiritual gifts. They were prophesying and speaking in tongues. It was very disorderly. So this really isn't that women shouldn't be pastors. Paul was mainly addressing the disorder and the disrespect for the gifts in the church.
I was going to say this, there's spiritual gifts and they're misusing them.
The verse that we really want to focus in on this one is the other verse that people use. And this, to give you a little background on this, Paul wrote this to Timothy. And Timothy was a young, new pastor, and Paul was instructing him on how to run the church. So this verse is the really controversial verse, because this is really directed at a pastor on how to run the church, not just a disorderly and people are out of control and speaking in tongues and being very disruptive. So why don't you read the verse in 1 Timothy?
Okay, so this is 1 Timothy 2, 11 through 12. Let a woman learn quietly with all submissiveness. I do not permit a woman to teach or to exercise authority over a man. Rather, she is to remain quiet.
Okay. Now read verse 13 is even a little bit more. It's a little harsh, isn't it?
Okay, so let's read that. That says, for Adam was formed first, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman was deceived and became a transgressor.
Yeah. Now, when you look at the Bible, there's like key words. And the key word in verse 13 is for. So he presents his instructions, and then the key word for supports why he doesn't want women to be pastors.
Right.
There are some really great women pastors. I mean, there's Priscilla Shriver, which we really like, Beth Moore, who are all teachers. So it's hard because there are a lot of great women teachers, pastors out there. So all throughout the New Testament, we see Jesus taking stock in women, and he would share noteworthy teachings with not only men, but with women. And there was no men around.
Right.
So obviously Jesus valued women and the role they played in the New Testament church.
Yeah.
So what are some of those examples?
Okay, so like in John 11:25, there's Martha, who Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life.
So that's some pretty good teachings. That's like...
hello.
Yeah, hello.
The Samaritan woman at the well, of course, in John 4. And the interesting thing about that is that he chose her, who actually went back to her village with this gospel and was an evangelist.
Yeah, she was a woman evangelist. Absolutely.
Yeah. Of course, you have all the women that were present at the cross.
Right. And it's really interesting if you guys want to read in the Gospels, there is interaction between Jesus and those women, which are very interesting to read. So we would encourage you to go to one of the Gospels and read that.
Yeah.
And the other one that I can think of is that women were the first ones to see the empty tomb.
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting how God chose women to be the ones to see this and then to go out and start telling everybody. And what's really interesting, if you guys do your research, is that back then, women really... Again, this is kind of why we're talking about this.
Yeah.
They really were kind of considered uneducated. The men were the men, they taught the truth. Logically, you would have a man who had more credibility see the empty tomb versus women who had no credibility, because it was just so unusual for women to be the first ones to see this major event.
Yeah.
So let's take a look also at the roles women played in church.
We find in Romans 16 that Phoebe was actually a deaconess. And Junia was considered outstanding in Paul's circle of apostles. Chloe, Nympha, and Aphia, and they're all in different parts of the New Testament. They actually had home churches.
Okay.
Priscilla was a church planter. And then, and last we had Tabitha, who led a ministry and was a prophet.
If you guys would like to become a part of our ministry, we would love for you guys to do that. You can do so in a couple ways. There's a join button right down below Kim. Click that join button and check it out. You can also make a one-time donation. The link is in the description. And Kim makes these really cool, this is our best-selling t-shirt, isn't it?
Yep.
The Heartbeat of Jesus. Kim makes, like I said, these great, really cool Christian t-shirts. The link for that is in the description. In talking about this subject, I don't think that we can talk about it and not relate it to our current culture, because I feel that the roles of men and women in today's culture has gotten really messed up. And that may be some reason why women are rising to leadership and men aren't. If you go way back to the Bible, in Ephesians, God laid out how he wanted the household and the church. The man's the head of the household, he's a spiritual leader, he answers to God, and the woman supports him, she's the helper, and he's the one in charge, okay? Today in our culture, first off, men, I believe, sorry men, it's the truth, okay? They have gotten very lazy and complacent, and I believe men don't want to be leaders. And we see this big transgender movement where actually men don't want to be men anymore, they want to become women. Women don't want to be led by men at all. They want to be basically the man. They don't want men to open doors for them. So the roles today, I believe, have just gotten messed up.
Nowadays, women want to feel a little bit more supportive. They want to be part of that, and they want to get out, and they want to feel like they're being productive. They want to work. And I think that's totally cool. I mean,
Right.
I believe that the women should work if they want to work, and some have to because they need to.
A lot of us have to. A lot of families have to.
Money,
Yeah.
help with the money. However, I do believe that the woman still, she tends to make him feel not superior.
Inferior, yeah.
And that you also have to talk about the fact that doesn't mean that a woman has to be like, oh, help me, and the man's not. It doesn't mean that. But there is a place where the husband needs to be respected and he needs to be the leader of the household.
Okay, so let's answer the question, should women be pastors? And again, we take our opinion out of it. I mean, I think both of us and all of you guys have your opinions. And if you'd like to post your opinions in the comments below, we would love to hear them.
Yeah.
But our job is to interpret scriptures, present it, and whether we like it or not, that's what God says, right? So the structure of 1 Timothy is pretty clear that God structured the church for men to be the spiritual leaders or the spiritual authority over the church. And women, of course, can help out, deaconesses, play roles in the church. I mean, I think women are awesome at teaching women and women in teaching children. So, I don't feel that women should take this verse and to say they're gullible or they're inferior, which they're not. I mean, there's a lot of, you're very intelligent, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think that's it. It just comes down to this is the way God wanted it. And a couple other verses and parts in scripture also point to this. Adam was created first to be the man, and then Eve was created to be the helper. So we see it there. And then also in Ephesians, what we've talked about, Ephesians 5:22-33, you guys can read that. They really lay out how God wanted the family and the church. So we see this theme repeated in Timothy, the beginning, and also, in the New Testament churches, the man is supposed to be the spiritual leader.
Right.
So what we do in our videos is when we create videos, Kim comes up with wonderful ideas and I come up with wonderful ideas. We do the research in scripture, but really I'm the one that leads.
Unless it's something that has to do with women like this, I'll put a little more base on it.
Right. But I feel, and I'm always encouraging Kim to talk because I really feel that a woman can really speak to a woman sometimes better than I can because I'm not a woman and you get women's feelings and emotions and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think you're such a vital part. You can talk. It's your time to talk, honey. Kim does the closings.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. We hope that it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's a controversial subject. We would love to hear your thoughts about it. And
it's debated a lot.
It is a lot. Mm-hmm. But we also have to remember what is most important. Not all these debates. We don't need to sit here and argue with each other.
Right.
Our salvation is what's the most important.
And you had a thought, of course you had a good thought. No, you were saying that, in today's culture, now's not the time to be limiting people on telling people about Jesus Christ. So, weren't you saying that?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so you had a very good point.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I don't think we want to start to hold back people.
Right.
Women go, Go. We
need the women and the men.
Yes.
All right, you guys, we will see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye-bye.